What's up, guys? Spin Firearms here, and today we're going to be comparing the new HK CC9 to other options that you may have at home. The point of this video is if you potentially have a 43X or a Ruger LCP Max or whatever the case may be, you can take a look at it, reference it with this video. You don't have to go to a gun store, ask for 100 different guns or whatever the case may be, and get a good reference point for its size. Now, the one thing I want to say about the HK CC9, I did not like it at first. It took a couple boxes of ammo before I really started to like it. It took a couple boxes of ammo before it really started to, break in a little bit. Everything was extremely stiff on this handgun at first. Everything. But once it started, going through its motions and meshing and parts starting to come together, it actually turned into a pretty solid everyday carry choice. So people love this video that when I do it with every new firearm we get. So let's go for it. We'll start off with the FN Reflex. For some reason, I get a lot of questions. Which one do I like better? Really tough question. They're very different. Anyways, 11 plus 1 on the right, 12 plus 1 on the left. So the FN Reflex looks like they just slightly are going to win that matchup for capacity. About the same size, one round or whatever the case may be. Not the biggest deal in the world. The other thing I want to say is we're not going to get to see it with the 10-round mag. It's literally right there. So, I mean, it's literally just this little part right here. That's the difference. So 2 rounds right there, I would never carry it with the other mag, right? Unless I was pocket carrying or something. The best handgun ever to be made for concealed carry, in my opinion, for me, the Glock 26, 10 plus 1 on the right versus 12 plus 1 on the left. And if you ignore the front of that base plate, that's where a flush mag would sit with 10 rounds. Up top, obviously thicker, a little bit longer because it does have a longer barrel. Pretty similar footprint. Next up, SIG P365. Once again, ignore the base plate. 10 plus 1 on the right versus 12 plus 1 on the left. Pretty comparable. And if you guys are wondering, I 100% like the HK better than the P365. P365 may be a little bit better for concealed carry and, getting around and having it in your pocket and stuff, but in terms of quality, it is not even close. Ruger Max 9. 10 plus 1 on the right versus 12 plus 1 on the left. So it looks like it definitely beats the Ruger, because if you add those 2 rounds, that Ruger might be sitting a little bit lower with that 12-round mag, but pretty comparable. Just not the biggest fan of that Ruger. I don't know. Kimber Mako R7. This right here is going to be sorry, I got to check. I thought it was 11 plus 1 if I'm not mistaken. Oh, it's 10 plus 1. Sorry, the other mag is 13 plus 1. So 10 plus 1 on the right, 12 plus 1 on the left. It definitely beats the Kimber Mako R7. The Mako just has an overall larger footprint, but it's the one Kimber that, honestly, I really like. And I do have a surprise coming over here for the channel. So it's another Micro 9 you probably have never seen, never heard of, but it could be a competitor. So 12 plus 1 and 9mm on the left versus the LCP Max. It's actually my wife's. Didn't want to grab mine out of the safe this morning, but 10 plus 1 and 380 versus 12 plus 1 and 9 on the left. The LCP Max is just so dumb small. So that's that. We'll go Glock 43X. 10 plus 1 on the right, because I'll only ever use OEM mags. If I'm actually carrying a 43X or 48, it's always OEM. So 10 plus 1 on the right versus 12 plus 1 on the left. It definitely beats the 43X in capacity. That's not a surprise. Size up top, pretty dang comparable. Very nice. Next up, CZ P10C, 12 plus 1 on the right versus 12 plus 1 on the left for the HK. Pretty close. Obviously, it's going to be thicker, so that's probably where it beats it in capacity length, right? Overall footprint. Funny one. Beretta PX4 Storm Subcompact. That's 13 plus 1, though. 13 plus 1 on the right. Sort of hard to see where the flat of the slide is, but 13 plus 1 on the right versus 12 plus 1 on the left. I just want to throw that in there. A little ridiculous comparison, but whatever. Got to have at least one in each video. Right here, Hellcat Pro Comp. 15 plus 1 on the right versus 12 plus 1 on the left. Once again, I like the fact that the HK, you can shrink down still. Whereas the Hellcat Pros, I love them, but you can't shrink them down. And like people have been saying, HK will be coming with a new larger mag. So you can look forward to probably a 15-round mag, is my guess, coming here shortly. Glock 48 on the right, it's going to be the same as the 43X. 10 plus 1 on the right versus 12 plus 1 on the left. Just destroys the 43X and 48, but that's not where the 43X and 48 wins. They win in shootability. They win in that feel of the hand, right? They're just larger micro 9s for capacity. Dang. But all good guns. All really good guns. Basically, everything I show in this video is going to be a good gun. Smith & Wesson MP9 Shield Plus. Any of these that you picked up and carried, I'd have zero problem with you guys having. As long as you test them, I have no issue with any of them. 12 plus 1 on the left versus 10 plus 1 on the right. So it's definitely going to beat out the Shield Pluses. We know that. Shield Plus is sort of interesting. Capacity-wise, it's similar between, you know, it's always going to lose. It's always going to lose. It's like the 43X and 48. It's always going to lose. Here's a regular Shield Plus. I think that's the 13-round mag. So 13 plus 1 on the right, 12 plus 1 on the left. It's always going to lose in capacity, but that's because it's so thin. You know, once again, a couple rounds. Is it the biggest deal in the world? No, it's not. You know what I mean? So it's not going to hurt you. What am I carrying right now? An 8 plus 1 old Shield Plus 1.0. Whatever. You know, just whatever. It's beat up. Its stuff's falling off of it. Whatever. Just one of my favorite guns. I love it. It's been reliable. Glock 33 and 357 SIG. With a couple things changed to this could potentially be the greatest handgun for a concealed carry ever in terms of power, capacity, size, weight, magazine availability, parts compatibility, but people don't like 357 SIG. So 9 plus 1 on the right versus 12 plus 1 on the left. Obviously, the 33 is going to be a lot thicker. Here's frame to frame. There's slide to slide. Pretty dang cool. Look how short that thing is. All right, next up we will try the Canik Meta MC9. That is that 15-round mag. So 15 plus 1 on the right versus 12 plus 1 on the left. You know, it's pretty dang comparable. Actually, pretty comparable in capacity. Up top, pretty even. Overall footprint. So obviously, if you imagine this with the flush mag, where it would sit. Who doesn't like a Glock and 45 ACP? Glock 30S, 10 plus 1 on the right versus 12 plus 1 or 9 on the left. So you get 2 extra rounds with the 9mm. And obviously, it's much, much thinner. Top, it's going to be longer for the Glock because that barrel is a little bit longer. But two good guns. Next up, we can try another Micro 9, the Hellcat. 11 plus 1 with the flush mag. It's probably going to beat it. Pretty decent, too. Versus 12 plus 1 on the left. So, yeah, it's definitely going to beat out almost every Micro 9. Except for the Reflex, I think it's tied with or something like that. But the Hellcat's just small. I mean, look at the overall footprint size. So it's more like P365 small. There's different Micro 9s. They're all called Micro 9s, but some are just noticeably smaller. Right here, Smith & Wesson CSX, 12 plus 1 versus 12 plus 1 on the left. Wow. CSX. It's so underrated. People just don't get the CSX. I love my CSX. This thing feels like a glove in the hand. I mean, this thing has such a nice trigger. No recoil compared to any other Micro 9. But people hate on it because they saw a couple influencers. Trust me, if you can find one of these right now, I think they're going for like $450. They might even be discontinued now. If you can find one for $450, $475, jump on it. You will not regret it. Up top, that's frame to frame, slide to slide. Like, look at that. Barrel to barrel. It's one of my favorite Micro 9s. It got a bad rep at first because a couple people, you know, whatever. I don't want to get into it. Shield Plus 30 Super Carry with the flush mag, 13 plus 1. But remember, it's in 30 Super Carry. And then we got 12 plus 1 on the left for the HK. So let's check that out real quick. Wow. Pretty crazy what they can do with 30 Super Carry, but people will not run away from their 9mm. I don't get it. You see I got a couple other calibers on here. I like 10mm, I like 45, I like 40. I like it all. I want to see some Micro 9s and 40. Give them to us. Come on. Right here, Bodyguard 2.0. This is 10 plus 1 of 380 flush, similar to that LCP Max, right? Then 12 plus 1 and 9 on the left. I mean, these things are just small. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, that's just dumb. Sorry, that's dumb. This is a Micro 9. Dumb. That's why everyone, you know, if you follow the channel, I get out, everything I do isn't the most popular, but I have a lot of logic behind what I do. Everyone needs a pocket pistol. If this is small, this is my, you know, minuscule. You need something to throw in the pocket every now and then for certain situations, certain places. You know what I mean? Places you can't carry appendix with something like this. Even though this is small, it can be pocket carried. The weight, the size, the thinness. Trust me, it'll change your game, especially if you guys have kids. There's nothing more friendly to everyday carry than having a pocket pistol with capacity.